Hi everybody, welcome back. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Insiyah, and in today's video I'm going to be teaching about the second type of graph, which is a pie chart. Now if you haven't watched the previous video, I would recommend you watch that first so you understand more about the topic and it helps you learn this more clearly. Okay, so let's start. So what is a pie chart? So a pie chart is a special type of graph in which data is compared using pie slices, and depending on the size of this data, different sizes of the slices are used. Now if you don't understand this right now, don't worry, I will explain it. So we all know what the data is. We all know that data can be big and small as well, right? But let's keep that on hold and let's go step by step. Okay. The first thing, for those of you who don't know, this is a pie. It's just this dessert that a lot of people like eating, and a pie chart gets its name from this food item
because they are both round.
Okay, so the second picture over here is what a pie chart looks like. Now, the first thing you need to look at over here, pay attention to, is this thing, pie slices. So when you eat a pie, it's just like a pizza. Just like how you would eat a slice of pizza, when you cut a pie, you would eat it in a triangular shape, right? And that would be a slice of a pie. So you can see that even in a pie chart, there are these sort of triangles and they're bigger and smaller, right? So the data is compared using pie slices. So these different colored triangular slices is comparing between your data. Now look at this sentence. Depending on the size of the data, different sizes of the slices are used. So from this you can clearly tell that the data that is represented by this blue color over here is going to be the biggest. And then by this color over here is going to be a little smaller, and the purple is the smallest, right? Now, the slices are calculated using fractions. Now, for those of you who don't know what fractions are, you will not be able to understand pie charts at all. So before we move more into pie charts, I'm going to tell you a little bit about fractions, okay? Just a quick introduction. So what are fractions? They are a part of a whole. Just remember that. That's your key sentence to everything you need to know about fractions. So a whole can be anything. It just refers to one. So it can be one pie or one pizza or one chocolate bar, right? Now, if I take one piece of my chocolate bar, I will have one part of the whole bar. So technically, that one part is a fraction of the bar, right? If I take one slice of the pizza, I'm taking one part of the whole pizza. So I'm taking a fraction of the pizza because it's a part of the whole. Okay, now let's consider these little examples over here. In the first picture that you see, the circle represents your whole. Okay, and the whole circle is divided into three portions over here. 1, 2, and 3. And as you can see, there's only one shaded portion. The green color, that's your shaded portion, right? So now you can easily tell from this that there is one shaded portion out of 3. And that means that your fraction that's shown in this is 1 out of 3, right? One part out of 3. So you're trying to show the fraction 1 by 3. The next figure. In this, the whole circle is divided into 4 parts. Am I right? And out of which there are two green parts. You can see this one green part over here and the second green part over here, right? This means your fraction over here is 2 by 4. And the third picture, again the whole circle, so the circle is your whole, is divided into 4 parts again, just like the previous one. But in this, there are 3 parts shaded. So my fraction becomes 3 by 4. Okay? Okay, so once you have this covered, you need to, so we're going to go and talk about pie charts again, right? Now, again, like based on what we've been doing so far, we need to have a data to even start thinking about drawing a graph. Okay, so let's look at this data over here. So 8 students were asked about their favorite subject in school. 2 students said it was English. 4 students said it was maths. 1 student said EVS. And the last one said it was Hindi. Okay, So now, as you can tell, all of this is your data. You have 8 students. The total number of students is 8. 2 of them liked English, 4 liked math, 1 liked EVS, last one liked Hindi. So I'm pretty sure by now all of you know how to put this into a table. So this is how we would write our table, right? Now suppose if you were drawing a bar graph from this, you would know that your favorite subject would come on your x-axis and your number of students would go on the y-axis. And when you were drawing your bars, you would start them from the x-axis and draw them up like that, right? But now we have a problem. So when you saw the picture of the pie chart, if you notice, there were no x and y axes. There were no lines representing these two axes. It was just a circle, right? Next thing, I also said that you need to have these pie slices. And to calculate the slices, you need to have fractions. But we don't see any fractions over here, right? Now, what do I mean when I say we don't have these fractions? The fractions in this case just simply means what fraction of students liked English, what fraction of them liked maths, what fraction liked EVS, and what fraction liked Hindi. Okay, that means what part of the total number of students, the total number of students were 8. What part of the total? So the total over here acts as your whole, am I right? Because the total is the maximum that it can be. So suppose if I divide my circle into 8 parts and each part represents one student. Am I right? So that's what my whole is over here. Okay, my total, that is 8 students. So what part of the 8 students liked English? That is 2. What part of the total number of students liked maths? That's 4. What part liked EVS? 1. And what part liked Hindi? Also 1. Okay, so my fractions in this case is this. So 2 students, so 2 parts out of the total liked English. So 2 by 8 is my fraction of the students who liked English. 4 by 8 is the fraction that liked math. 1 by 8 is the fraction that liked EVS. And 1 by 8 is the fraction that liked Hindi. Okay? Again, 2 parts out of 8, 4 parts out of 8, 1 part out of 8, and again 1 part out of 8. Okay, so now these are your fractions. Now based on these fractions, I'm going to teach you how to draw a pie chart. Okay, so as I said, we need to have, so imagine I have a circle in which there are 8 parts. Okay, 1, 2, so this has 4 parts, and then I'm going to do 3 and 4. Okay, now count how many parts are there in this circle over here. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Am I right? Okay. Now we're going to, now imagine each of this part represents one student, like what I said. Okay. Now let's change the color to purple. Now the first fraction that we had was of the students that liked English. Okay. So then that was 2 out of 8, right? So I'm going to put the purple color in 2 of these. Okay. There's purple over here and there's purple over here. Now I'm also going to put a purple dot over here. I will tell you why later. Okay. So look at what I did. I colored 2 parts purple because our fraction was 2 out of 8. So now if each of these parts represents one student, then 2 of these parts, that means 2 students like English, right? Let's change the color to this blue over here. The next subject was math. Now, if each of these parts is one student, and we know that 4 students like math, that means we would have to shade 4 parts. Am I right? So I'm going to do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, put another dot of this color as well. Okay? So now look at how many students we have left. We shaded 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 students were shaded, okay? So we know that out of these 6 students, 2 of them are the ones who like English and 4 of them are the ones who like math. Okay, now I'm going to change my color to this green over here. Then we know that we had one student who liked EVS. So I'm going to shade one part because again, remember, each part is of one student. So this is one student, this is one student, this is one student. Out of that, 2 liked English, 4 liked math, 1 liked EVS. So I shaded one and now I'm going to put a dot. Okay. Again, for the last time, I am changing my color to this orange over here and I'm shading it in. And this one is for the student that like Hindi, right? Because again, we had one student out of the 8 who liked Hindi. So this is nothing but your pie chart. Now you're probably wondering why I have put these dots over here, right? So now imagine this. If you don't have the table next to you, how will you know what subject these are referring to? You know that there's 2 parts out of 8. So someone can easily count 8 parts and they know that 2 out of 8 is one fraction, 4 out of 8 is another fraction, and 1 out of 8 and 1 out of 8 are the last 2 fractions. But what are these fractions of? So for that, you need to give them something called a key. So a key is just going to tell them what the fractions represent. So if I write English over here, the person who is reading this pie chart of yours will easily find out that these 2 parts are of students that like English. Then for blue, next to this color, if I write maths, they will know that the 4 parts represent the students who like math. Then for this one, I will write EVS and they will know that the student who likes EVS is represented by the green color. And that means that there's only one student who likes EVS. And for the last one, if I write Hindi, then they will know that again, just like EVS, there's only one student who likes Hindi. Now let's see if our pie chart is correct. Okay, as you can see, I have done the exact same thing over here, right? So my first color in this pie chart, my English, so you can see there's a blue dot that says English because this is the key of the graph. And there's 2 parts that are 2 parts shaded and that represents the number of students who like English. So 2 by 8. Then over here, maths is 4. So there's 1, 2. So imagine if we complete this over here, complete the graph and draw all of our lines, then you will be able to tell how many parts are shaded. Am I right? So now look at this. This makes it a little more clear. This is 1, 2. So this is 2 by 8. And this is 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 4 by 8. And then again, the orange, which is EVS. So it's 1 part out of 8. And the green, which is Hindi, again, which is 1 part out of 8. So this is basically your pie chart. And with this, we come to an end of today's video. Please leave a comment down below if any of you have any questions, and thank you so much for watching.